Alright, first of all, I apologize for not having... and I'm bouncing around for some reason. I apologize for not doing a video for a while. I just haven't had motivation, haven't had time, haven't had the room free, and I'm currently taking advantage of a small period in which there are people not in the room or in the area that I would be bothering. But anyway, I'm back now. I'll be doing a vid today. Hopefully I'll do one tomorrow, although I do have a game, so not sure how long that'll last, whatever, and what else will be going on if I'll have time, but I'll try and do one every day that I have time and the opportunity to do one, and something to talk about, which usually isn't hard for me to come up with. First of all, my Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay First Edition core book came. I'm not going to show it off because I don't have it right now, and as I said, I have a limited window to do this video in, so I don't want to run up and waste time running up and getting it, but I will show it off later at some point. Probably when I'm doing either a Warhammer or just a general role-playing related vid. This vid will be a review of the Watchmen movie, which I also don't have with me because I have already had to return it to the library before I could do the review. But I have seen it, so I can still do the review. I had seen and read several reviews of it before I watched it, and also, of course, read the graphic novel, and loved the book, was expecting it to suck, the movie to suck, because the reviews were so horrendously negative. And it wasn't great, probably could have been better, definitely could have been better in some ways, but better than I was expecting after the horrendous reviews. So... Wait a second. Stop. Alright, this is a continuation of my Watchmen review, which, I know, it's a new day and all that. I just didn't have time to finish it the other day or today until now. But anyway, as I said in the beginning, it wasn't nearly as bad as the reviews or the trailers led me to believe. The reviews were pretty horrendous on the whole, and really didn't make me optimistic. And the trailer, everyone sounded really wooden, and I wasn't looking forward to it. I figured they couldn't really screw up Rorschach by making him too wooden because he's supposed to be, but the other characters I all thought sounded way too wooden. And with the exception of Silk Spectre, I thought they were all fine, and since I didn't like her very much in the comic book anyway, because she came across as a bit of a whiner to me, I didn't mind that very much. Everybody else I thought was portrayed really well. The only real gripe I had with the actors, and this isn't really a criticism of their acting very much, I guess, is the guy who played Rorschach, whose name I can't remember right now. Basically just played his role so well and did the whole monotone thing so well that it made a lot of the stuff that was kind of sarcastically funny in the graphic novel not funny, and what made me realize that was Mom, who had not read the graphic novel when she watched the movie with me, really didn't like Rorschach nearly as much as I did, or as I was expecting her to, and I think it was just because he did the whole monotone thing so well that really someone who hadn't read the graphic novel couldn't get very emotionally attached to him, which is fine. As I said, it's not really a criticism of his performance. If anything, it's just saying he performed too well, but that was a small gripe I had. Also, I wanted to address Ozymandias, or whoever played him, their performance in that role. I've heard people say that that performance was bad. I thought it was really good. In fact, it was better than I was expecting. I mean, as I said, everything about the movie was better than I was expecting, but it was better than I even knew to hope for, because he portrayed the character in the movie and did things in that role that I couldn't imagine in my head. I'm not trying to overhype him or anything, but like, he had this great tone, which I think is what I didn't like, but he had this great tone of sort of icy detachment and superciliousness, or I guess superiority would be a better word, that it totally fits Ozymandias, but I didn't think of that tone in my head when I was reading the novel, which I thought made this role even better than, or this portrayal even better than the, well, not better than the graphic novel, but, you know, I really liked that about it, and I thought his performance was great. Jeffrey D. Morgan, who played the comedian, was brilliant. Again, not as likable to in the, well, I don't know, he wasn't likable in the graphic novel, but I liked him as a character. And Mom just hated him. That may be because she was just isn't as sort of, I don't know, sympathetic to those characters as I am. But also one particular part which I really liked in the graphic novel, and I really liked in this because I've seen it in the graphic novel, the riot scene where he does the whole line of I got rubber bullets and I ain't afraid to use them. Well, they cut that out of the movie, so, and they cut out the whole part of him throwing gas canisters into the crowd and whatever. So basically, Mom thought he was just shooting people with real bullets and crap, and I thought it was sort of funny in the graphic novel when he was like the one guy who would actually do something when they were attacking. I mean, the Owlship could have withstood the attack anyway, but it was like Night Owl just shrugs and he's like, ah, screw it. I'm just gonna start shooting people with rubber bullets and stuff. But not explaining that it was rubber bullets by cutting out that line made it just seem too brutal, and I can see why Mom didn't like that, or didn't like him. But apart from those few gripes, and the fact that some of the special effects were kind of overdone, like Rorschach did this little bitty jump that was like 5 feet high, or less, like 2 feet, 3 feet, I don't know, he jumped like 1 foot in the air, I guess. And they slowed it down, and it was kind of, that was really overdone. Also, there was one part where Night Owl smashes some guy in the arm, and the blood just like appears out of nowhere. All the other time I thought the blood effects, while not necessary perhaps, were not overtly overdone, and although that sounded kind of stupid when I said it, but that one part, it was just obviously fake, and I thought that was overdone. But apart from those few criticisms, I thought it was pretty good. Now, the one other thing I wanted to address, I didn't like how they changed the ending. I forgot about that. It just didn't make sense to me how it was supposed to do what Vade wanted it to do. And I know they called him Vade in the movie, I'm just used to calling him Vade. Ozymandias, I guess I'll just call him. In the comic book, for those who don't know, he had this psychic monster, or had put a lot of psychics in this sort of big armor suit thing, and detonated it in the middle of New York, and so he basically faked an alien invasion. And that made sense because people were, like, the people of Earth united against the alien invasion, and therefore didn't fight each other. But this whole Dr. Manhattan thing, in the movie he fakes Dr. Manhattan causing that catastrophe, and I could see that freaking people out, but I can't see how it would unite people, because are they really going to try and fight Dr. Manhattan? No. They're just going to be terrified. I mean, maybe they won't fight each other, but they certainly really won't be very united, because they won't have anything to do, or it's not like there's anything they can do to beat Dr. Manhattan. So that I really didn't like. I see how the whole psychic thing would have been hard to explain without all the extra time and stuff that the graphic novel had, because even in the graphic novel I had to go back and go, oh, I remember them mentioning this little bit here and this little bit here that kind of makes sense now. But they couldn't have really done that in the movie, or if they did, they couldn't have expected you to remember it, not being able to flip back through the pages and find it. But still, I thought they could have found a better alternate ending than that. And my final gripe, they thoroughly, and excuse my language, fucked up the Rorschach flashback scenes and the whole Rorschach interview. I understand that they couldn't do the whole slow thing where the Doctor was slowly becoming more and more cynical and more Rorschach-like necessarily, but I thought they could have done it a little just by cutting between the different days. And they didn't do that. And then with the flashback part, they just did not. And again, they didn't really have time to, but they just flashed through everything so fast that it really did not have the emotional impact that the graphic novel had. And that, it really did have impact for me. That is my favorite scene in all of literature ever, I think. If not, it's my second favorite scene. And they screwed it up, and that just ticked me off. But, and it may sound like I'm bashing it just because I'm pointing out the bad parts more than the good, but trust me, they really got everything overall right. It's just those are small criticisms. And before my time finally runs out, I will end this.